Hey, White Rock 85 here with the backyard fire pit chat. We're wrapping up 2019 and into 2020. Got a nice fire going here. Not particularly cold today, no snow on the ground. Have a nice cigar, have a nice cup of coffee, and hopefully you'll see a couple things in here that you'll be saying wow to. But my cigar today, brought to you by Backcountry Pipe up there in Nova Scotia. Montecristo number 2, and as they say, I think Hecto a mano en Cuba. I know my Spanish is terrible, and I don't know if you've understood that or not, but certainly this is going to be a pleasurable cigar. Let's take a close-up look at it. Certainly an extraordinary cigar. Notes of light spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, blended together with notes of almond and a tangy wood note. One of Winston Churchill's favorite cigars. Very, very good. And Mark said to enjoy it with some coffee. Goes very well. And I have my coffee here too. This is Blackbeard's Revenge. It's something I got off Amazon, but very good. It kind of fits both of my criterias for coffee. It's like a bold blend with a medium tasting note. Still deer season here in Delaware. I always say that pistol is on my bucket list, but did not make it out for pistol season. And I could have only taken a doe anyway, which would have been fine if I wanted to fill the freezer up a little bit more. It's pretty full as it is with the 2 I got. But didn't make it out. Had some family issues that kind of prevented me a little bit of concentrating on it. And again, which is fine. You know, I had a really good year, and that's great. So I've been looking at the stores, as I usually do around this time of year. Try to catch what's clearance sale that I can use into next year. Haven't got too much stuff yet. I did pick up a bucket of Lucky Buck. It wasn't on sale, it usually never is, but certainly have that. What I'm going to try this year is I'm going to try to see if I can get that to harden into some type of block, you know, like a 5-pound block or so, so it can last a little bit longer. That's one thing with Lucky Buck, that you do have to reapply it just because it's such a fine grain. I was trying to see if I could harden it up into something. I've got some advice to put some into a paper bag, leave it into a garage, let the humidity get to it, and it will harden it up. It's normally in that plastic bucket. So I'm going to try that. I'm also maybe going to try pouring some into some type of container, misting it with a little damp water, a little mist water, and maybe compressing it down with some weight. I'm also going to try that. So I will let you know probably in the spring trip how I made out with that. Probably going to get a trophy rock to go with that. I know Eric will have a couple trophy rocks going up the cabin. And also I recommend trying to pick up the Himalayan chipped rock salt. It looks like it's almost as big as your fist, a little bit smaller, about golf ball size, I guess would be the better way to describe it. But Himalayan bucket, I did pick up that in Tractor Supply on sale, and that works really, really well. I was really surprised. Now, the club work day last year, I wanted to put a camera out. All I had was that, and I really didn't know how it was going to do. But I put that out, I put the camera on it, and those deer found it, and they came back and over and over and over again just to that Himalayan rock salt. It's salt, but it also does have minerals in it. They came back so much they were actually bedding down next to it, which was a very big surprise. Right on the end, that one piece, that's a piece of cherry that I cut down the tree in the yard here that had died. We'll see how that does. I don't know if I'm going to get any cherry notes off of that to go along with the cigar. Going to get the feeders going again up the cabin. I didn't have it going last year. Eric did have his for a little bit. The battery ended up dying on it. But I got a new solar panel for it, a Moultrie solar panel that fits into the spinner better than the one that I had, and we're going to try to get that going again. Well, that ought to get going now with that little bit of movement in there. So we're going to get those going again. And looking to make a few changes up there to see maybe what we're can do to increase our success, which has been basically zero for a pretty long time now. As far as how we're positioned up there, I may move my tree stand, or I may build a box blind type up there if I'm motivated enough to get up there and do that. That little hollow that I look into, and I was thinking about positioning myself a little bit down farther in there, because that's lately, the last 10 years or so, that's where I've been seeing deer. I used to see them up on that knoll where I'm at, up on the level spot, but I really haven't seen them in the past couple of years up that way, so I think I'm about sliding down a little bit. We'll see. I don't want to crowd anybody else either. We're thinking about moving Sean actually onto a different lot. There's some lots up there that are connected to ours that are vacant. It's basically, it's an LLC that owns them for the gas rights up there, and there's nobody on them, there's no cabins, nobody hunts on them, so we're thinking about moving him a little bit and setting him up in either like a ground blind type of situation, or possibly moving my ladder stand back there. I don't really want to put my stand on another guy's property, but if it's temporary, maybe we'll do it, not sure. So we are thinking about making some changes there to try to help us. I know the guys probably want to come second week again with the doe licenses, and I know that 2 years in a row we can't not get any doe, so we'll see what happens with that. And as far as last year and you know, the burnt food and everything like that, the cook is just having a little bit of a bad streak. Trust me, he was the one that always had an A game up at the cabin. He was the one that would bring fresh thyme, rosemary up there to put on if he was doing a steak or something like that. We never did that. We were always almost very simplified up there. He was the one that always had his game up, and it's just a matter of time that he's going to be back again. It's really what it came down to the last couple of years was he was a little bit too distracted with what we were doing in the cabin, not paying attention. And if you're working a grill, a gas grill, you don't pay attention for a few minutes, it's going to get out of control on you. And that's really, I think, what's been happening. Last year, I think while the wings were going, I think we were watching, what was it, The Irishman on Netflix, and he wanted to kind of see what was going on. Supposedly set a lot in Philadelphia, Wilmington area, and of course other cities, but some of it was in there, and kind of wanted to see how they portrayed Philly. So I can understand that. And, some things got out of control, but like I said, he was the one. He don't have that name really. Doesn't have the Camp Cook name for a reason. He didn't just make it up. It was really because he did have some good cooking skills up there. One interesting part, the chairman has said he is going to cook some steaks up there in the spring trip. We kind of busted Cook for a lot, and he said, well, why don't you do something? And he said, yeah, okay, I will. I'm going to do some steaks. So the chairman is on tap for some steaks in the spring trip. It's going to be very interesting when all of us are sitting around doing the chairman taste test, as he's done so many times before. Well, it's this time of year for the NWTF banquets in our area. I know some of the states, they're not until later on in the year, but in Delaware, they have them in the spring from February into April. There's 3 branches here, and they have 3 different banquets, and I will be attending one of those. And you get, basically I go in as a sponsor member, and you get a dinner, and you get some tickets for the raffles, and you basically supporting the NWTF, which I think is a great organization. Really has made a difference in the wild turkey population in America. So we'll be doing that. I urge you, if you're a turkey hunter, you may want to think about joining the NWTF. Membership, $35 a year, but I'm going to have some links in the description right below here. You go to that, you join up, you basically can choose a gift of your choice, which would be a $25 Bass Pro card, or I think a 2 knife set. So basically you're spending $10 for the membership, you're getting $25 back from Bass Pro, which you can certainly get whatever you want. So it's quite a good deal. So I urge you to go ahead and think about doing that this year. Again, links right below my feet down here. Well, now's the time that I like to celebrate and highlight some of the guys that are in our club, some of the guys that have contacted me through YouTube and have got some great deer this year. Have them kind of from all over the East Coast, Maryland, Ohio, Michigan, Nova Scotia, Pennsylvania. I don't know if I forgot one or not. But some great deer, and I like to highlight these guys because they got some really great deer, and again, these are all on, it could be private land or public land, but it also is not an outfitter. We're going to start with Coyote Kid Adventures. You can check him out or check them out on YouTube. They have a YouTube channel. Here it is right here. Coyote. Go ahead and give them a look. Got some great deer in the family this year. We had Nate, his dad, his brother. Are you giving me some competition here? And they all got some 3 really great bucks. And let's start out with the Coyote Kid here. He got this nice 9-point on opening weekend down in Maryland. Beautiful looking deer. And his brother took a monster 8. This was the first week of archery in Pennsylvania. And then lastly, Nate took this great looking 10-point in Maryland. Guys, some beautiful deer. Really had to be a good feeling for the family, everybody, to kind of get their biggest deer to date. Beautiful, great work. And like I said, hope maybe some of you guys out there will subscribe to Nate's channel. Check him out, see what he's doing. Here's one from Phil from Ohio. You may have heard me mention Phil before in a couple of the trips, spring trip and maybe one of the other trips. Phil had sent Sean and I some tobacco, I think from the tobacco barn. And Phil, we're still enjoying that tobacco. Very good. Phil took this beauty 9:30 on Monday morning. He had just stepped out of his blind to do some still hunting. Basically kicked it out of a thicket. It was 50 yards on the run. And Phil was able to get it with his 10mm carbine, and that was out in Ohio, I guess 10mm pistol caliber cartridge in a carbine. Phil, congrats! Great shot on the run like that. Beautiful looking buck. I know you've been after him for a little bit, and he finally made that one mistake that you've been waiting for. That we all wait for that deer to make that one mistake so we can fill our tags. Great. A little bit jealous with the carbine out there. In Delaware, they did allow the pistol calibers, but they said you can't use the assault rifle style. Or basically, they said no semi-automatics, which did it. So, Phil, congrats out there. It was a 10mm reload that I think he made himself. Again, beautiful job, Phil. The next one we have from the man with no name. That's how he's known on YouTube, so that's how we'll refer to him. Got this really nice buck up in Nova Scotia during the muzzleloader season. And you'll notice the picture is in black and white. When he hit the deer, must have hit an artery. Deer's blood went all over the antlers. So I just changed the picture to black and white instead of like photoshopping that out. Then basically it's not the true antler, so I figured we'll just change it to black and white. Great deer. I know that was certainly a deer of a lifetime for you, and it's going to make a beautiful looking mount. The next one we have is from Mario. Mario's involved with the Lucky Buck operation up there in Michigan. The plant I visited, it was great to see you up there, Mario. And again, Eric and I, true believers in Lucky Buck, really like the product. And again, always think that maybe you should at least give it a try, because you got nothing to lose when you put that Lucky Buck out with the no questions asked guarantee. But let's take a look at Mario's deer here. This southern Michigan giant was dogging a doe about 165 yards. Wind blowing to his back right in the deer's direction, but he was using Conquest Evercalm scent eliminator. It did the trick. After waiting the longest 25 minutes of his life, the buck hopped the fence. Mario was able to take a lethal shot at 151 yards away with a Ruger gun sight Scout chambered in the 450 Bushmaster. So another pistol caliber cartridge that does the job. Mario, congrats on that great looking buck up there. Really beautiful. Another giant. Certainly well deserved. The next one's from Randy. That's the one I kind of teased in the deer camp video. As they say, let's roll the tape on this and take a look when he recovered his deer. Well, here we are with Randy. He's just got a deer of a lifetime right here. Okay, let me get around. We got monster 13, at least 13. I guess you got to start counting, I think.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14.
14. What a monster. Well, congrats to Randy.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. He didn't go as far as we thought he went, but
yeah.
We thought he heard him crash. We had a little trouble finding him, but we got him, or he's got him, I should say.
I was there that day, of course, with Randy. That was the day that I got my 6-pointer, cold buck, whatever you want to call them. And I had got mine earlier. Randy and I, basically, our stands are probably only 125, 150 yards apart. About 45 minutes later, he got this one. Randy and his brother have really been, they've treated me great throughout the years. You know, they kind of treat me like an uncle or something like that, are always willing to help me out, drag deer out. They've gutted a deer for me a few times, and again, to Randy and Ryan, I really appreciate what you do for me when we're out there hunting. Trust me, what you're doing is not lost on me. I really thank you for it. And Randy, really congrats on that. That's certainly another deer of a lifetime. I think he counted it off at 14 points. Beautiful, beautiful deer. Will make a great looking mount, and he'll have that one for a long, long time. Again, congrats, Randy. And our next one, it's Vinnie Ragu again. Look at this 9-point that Vinnie got. A couple good looking photos he's got here too. I like how he has them on the pickup truck. And Vinnie, he gets the Golden Horseshoe Award this year. He's had some very, very successful years. Vince, again, congrats on these deer. Beautiful, beautiful, and really, I wish you continued success. I can tell. I've seen you before when you've got these deers, what they really mean to you. So congratulations again, and keep up the good work. Hey, and the next one is from Andrew Manicotti. And if you check the name, then yeah, you know it's Vince's son. This is his 2nd buck of the year. He had not taken a deer before this, and he actually got 2 this year. I think one with a crossbow, and I think the other was with a shotgun. Great looking deer. Andrew, congrats again. That luck from your dad is wearing off on you, and I'm glad to see the youth carrying on the tradition with Randy and Andrew, continuing the tradition of hunting, and I'm glad to see that. So that kind of goes through the deer of the year, the all-stars. Really some good deer this year, as always, and it was great to take a look at them. And again, some regular guys in a situation that they came across some extraordinary deer. So that kind of wraps up a fire pit chat for the year. It was a good year for me. Turkey, 2 deer. A little bit disappointed at our cabin this year. Was really thought something was going to happen with either me or one of the guys, but that's why we're thinking about making a couple changes, and we'll get the minerals out, we'll get the feeders going, and we'll see what we can do to get something going up the cabin. So this is White Rook 85 sitting here on the Delmarva Peninsula, my Montecristo number 2. Again, thanks, Mark. Blackbeard's Revenge down there in the cup. Gonna sit here a while. Take some time to maybe reflect a little bit on the past year, and going into this year, what you want to do different for 20, but think back on 19 and what transpired during that year, and friends and relatives and experiences that you may have had. So I'm going to sit here. I'm not going to waste a bit of this cigar, that's for sure. So just sit here about another 45 minutes or so and kind of do that pondering myself. Again, White Rook 85. I'll catch you next time.